enough. No, more.
Today's topic is third-party risk management. Mike, I'm going to throw this to you first. What have you heard enough about in third-party risk management, and what would you like to hear a lot more?
So I guess there's a couple ways that I think about this. One, there's the talk in the industry about third-party risk management, and then there's also the things that we have to do. And I'm so tired of custom one-off questionnaires.
Which seems like to be the bane of every security professional.
Yeah, nobody likes them, yet like everybody sends them. So I'm utterly confused by that. That usually it's a one-time view point in time. So you could have a vendor for 5 years and you looked at their security 5 years ago. There's no data about that. It's just, again, somebody's checking a checkbox. You don't know what to do about that.
And you have no idea who they gave the survey to.
Right. And then like the last one is, because they use these custom questionnaires, you often scoop it down to only certain suppliers because that's all that you have the time to process. So kind of enough about just these custom one-off manual processes. And what I'd like to hear more of is data-driven third-party risk analysis, up-to-date insights into how they're doing. Like, how are you doing today, even though I first looked at you 5 years ago? And there should be a way to see that across all of your suppliers, not just how it's scoped. So I'd love to hear more about like how all of that is possible. That's what I'd like to see more about.
All right. Well, Stephen was nodding his head, so I think he's going to attack that very topic. So I'm going to ask you the very same questions that I asked Mike, Stephen, and that is, what have you heard enough about in third-party risk management, and what would you like to hear a lot more? And maybe you at BitSight are approaching this.
I think Mike hit the nail on the head, what everybody's heard enough on, or they just heard enough that they don't have any program. They have nothing, so then they know that they've got a big gap. So this challenge of something that's point in time, subjective, and that can't scale, I think everyone's done with that. We've probably done about 100 workshops over the last 12 months with different companies, and 65% of them just rated their program as less effective because they're not automated, they're not data driven, right? So they're not efficient and effective. And so what we need more of is really effective programs where we have visibility and we can monitor and keep up to date and stay up with the changes that are happening. I think Mike articulated really well.
So I'm sorry, ongoing monitoring of the third parties.
Exactly.
And so give me details on that.
Yeah. All right. So just say, so you onboard a third party. This happens all the time. You onboard them, you do your assessments. Maybe you go do an on-site visit if they're really critical. And then you leave it. Right? And then years later, the relationship could evolve. Maybe different data is shared and that sort of thing, but you have no visibility into what's happening there. New vulnerabilities could be announced. They could have transformations and move to the cloud. And you just may not have any idea how that program is evolving or performing. But yet you did at the beginning. And so that's part of that gap where things are very dynamic and changing. It's very different than just your auditing controls in finance. This is something that we know that these environments are very dynamic. So you really need visibility into that dynamicism that's happening within that large supplier ecosystem.
So please feel free to explain how BitSight is getting that sort of ongoing visibility. I hooked into a vendor 5 years ago. How am I sort of getting that ongoing visibility?
Yeah, well, so the way that we're doing is an outside-in approach because you can't really audit, all right? You can't go on site. You can't do a pen test every single day. And so the way that we approach that for our customers is to look at your entire ecosystem and then prioritize by looking at empirical measurements that we can make about the organization. It turns out there's a lot you can learn about an organization's culture and hygiene by just watching it over time, every day. How quickly are they updating their systems? How quickly did they remove a particular vulnerability? How quickly does it take for them to detect and respond to an attack or an intrusion? Those are really interesting metrics that tell you about their execution. You don't know everything about their controls. You don't know everything about everything that they're investing in, but you get some measures to where now you have an ability to prioritize. So I'll be very clear. So the NSA just released top 25 vulnerabilities that they're seeing being exploited right now in the wild. One of the questions is, does my third party have one of those vulnerabilities exposed, right? If you're just doing a questionnaire and you're getting to them once every 5 years, you don't know. right? And oftentimes your regulators are coming in and asking you that. And so you want to be able to look and say, hey, are there services exposed, especially with work from home? Are there remote access services exposed inside of my supplier ecosystem that I need to follow up on because it's an attack surface that I need to be able to address?
So you said you did the survey of 100 different companies. What were their severe pain points beyond that obvious one right there, the ongoing looking into the vendors? I got to assume, though, that the depth that you can look into them can be a lot more than what we have now.
Yeah. So these were workshops. So we spent an entire day with these teams. And what's interesting, and it's getting worse year over year because we did them in 2019 and 2020, it's the time it takes. Is that the assessment time, the validation time is just way too long, and it's getting longer.
Give me like a duration.
Like months, like 6 months. Like it's like, hey, the business says, hey, we want to do business with this particular company. It's going to take 6 months for you to go and do an assessment and them to fill out a questionnaire and then for you to respond and get through all the controls testing and sign off.
That is so not competitive, is it?
Oh, exactly. And this is where you want to be a business enabler. And so you have to move at the speed of business. And Mike hit it on the head, which is it's got to be data driven. It's got to be more automated because you got to make that decision. In some of these cases, we've learned about the business saying, hey, we want on board this third party. Security team finally finished their assessment. And the business team said, it's too late. We've moved on. That opportunity was over.
Oh, how many times you've seen that often?
Oh, yeah, that happens. And
that's miserable.
It's just because, hey, they need a campaign up and running. They need to go out and launch a cloud service or get a marketing campaign on board. And if it takes 6 months for the security team to get through that, they're just going to lose their window. And so where we're seeing effective programs, this is kind of where I started off with my tip, is where they can move efficiently. They can measure that time to onboarding. They can measure the resources they need to put on. So that's one of the huge challenges. The next one, though, is this cross-functional aspect of it. Because you've got legal, you've got the security teams, you've got the business teams, and really you need to build a program, which we don't really hear a ton about this, that you have to build a program that can move at that kind of speed. And so you'll need to have automation, but you have to, nobody can sell you software. So I know we're trying to work between the vendors. There's no vendor that's going to sell you that program. You need to build that, you need to change to be able to adapt to that kind of speed.